Good to see everybody. Hope everybody's off to a good new year. Saw a couple of you in Charlotte, I think. But good to get together today before we hit the road again tomorrow. So I wanted to have an opportunity for you guys and our fans to certainly have a chance to greet and meet Coach Allen. Super excited about our new defensive coordinator. And first thing I would say is, again, as I said in my statement, I just, how much I love Wes Goodwin and his family, and thankful for the job that he did. Unbelievable work ethic. Nobody works harder or worked harder than Wes. And it just didn't work, and that's my fault. Simple as that. It's not his fault. That's my fault. But my job is to make sure that we are doing everything we can to be the best version of ourselves year in and year out. And as I always do, I think it's important to step back always from emotion of things and, keep a good perspective on the good, the bad, but evaluate, and you always set your eyes forward on what you got to do to get better. And, we've been to 7 CFPs in the past 10 years, 6 Final Fours, 4 Final Twos, and 2 national championships. And have won this league 8 out of the last 10 years. So we've done a lot of great things, and we've created, high standard and high expectations. And so, again, there's not a program out there that's been more consistent than us, and we're really proud of that. But we're always striving to get better. And each and every year I try to do what I need to do to help us do just that, keep growing, keep getting better. And I felt like I needed to have a change in leadership on the defensive side this year. And so I decided to make that change. And then once I did, I did a lot of research, and obviously who's good on defense and this and that, and pretty easy to kind of figure that out. But then I did a lot of due diligence, and I called a lot of people that I know and trust, defensive people, head coaches, GMs, NFL people, without sharing any information with anyone, just getting their feedback. And, because I'd kind of established a little bit of a list myself. And so it was really interesting to hear the feedback from a lot of different people on, their perspective of the best out there. And I kind of got a list down. It was a very kind of humbling reminder of how special Clemson is, and how football people view our program, especially when this is your livelihood and what you do. How people view Clemson, and in particular, again, our program and the type of consistency and success that we've had. That was really humbling for me, because when I put my list together, again, I had a lot of people so many people that reached out, but I got it to about 10 or 12 people. And the only coach that I had to reach out to gauge interest was this guy. He was the only one. Everybody else I wanted to reach out to, I didn't have to do that, because they either contacted me directly or through their representation. So literally the only guy I had to gauge interest in was Coach Allen. And I did that through our agent, but he wasn't going to talk to me until it was done, which I really respected that. But everybody else, again, either directly or indirectly. And the great thing is, the best of the best really wanted to come and be here at Clemson. And so that was a really cool thing for me to, just go through. I got it down from 10 to 12 to 5, and then really did a real deep dive there. Got it down to 3, and then I got it down to 2. And in the end, I just felt like a lot of prayer. The good Lord was just kind of, put this thing together. That's the best answer I can give you. And I felt like he's a great coach, and all those people were great coaches, all sitting defensive coordinators at really, really good schools. But he just felt like he was the right leader that I needed at this time. And he's a great coach, but as I said, he's a great leader of men, has been for a long time. I love his background. I love his track record. But highly, highly recommended from some of the best people in this business, from all not just coaches, all different layers of college football. And so I'm glad it worked out. It was obviously they played a game not even a week ago, so I really wasn't able to get on the phone with him until I guess it was Friday night, and then Saturday followed that up. So just really exactly what I thought he would be. We knew each other a little bit. He was an interim in Indiana, and when he got that job, he reached out to me, and we kind of communicated a little text a little bit here and there while he was the head coach at Indiana. But know a lot of the same people, but just a great fit for us. Everybody's excited. Going to introduce him to the team today. We'll have a team meeting this afternoon, but wanted y'all to have the opportunity to meet him and get to know him a little bit. So with that, I'll pass it over to Coach so he can have a little opening statement, but just really thankful his whole family is joining us. He's got a beautiful family, son Thomas. He's got a daughter, Brittany. He's got another daughter, Hannah, and then his wife, Tracy. So they'll be getting here as soon as they can, and we're going to welcome him to the Clemson family. And nothing like opening up with LSU and an opener to see what he's got. Should be a fun off season. So with that, Coach, I'll pass it off to you.
I appreciate that. Just so thankful to be here. So excited. Wow, it's been a whirlwind here the last few days. Just want to thank, first of all, Coach Franklin for the opportunity he gave me at Penn State. What an amazing season we had together. As Coach mentioned, I didn't reach out because I wasn't looking, and so, but just Pat Kraft, the AD there, special people. Just really thank the players for the way that they responded and played and had an amazing, playoff run. Obviously, still wish we were playing for one more game, but at the same time, just thankful for that opportunity and just really appreciate Coach reaching out. Like I said, I wasn't expecting this. He did mention something I think was a big part of this, and that was my family. Faith and family is a big deal for me, and the culture that Coach has created here is very well respected and well known in the coaching profession. And then, our two daughters he mentioned, they both actually live in the Carolinas. Brittany lives down the road here, which is unusual because we had really never lived. Any of our family never lived in North or South Carolina, and Hannah lives, in North Carolina, and she's expecting our second grandchild here in about 30 days. So the chance to have our two girls here close by and Thomas with us and his little son, little Tommy, and Ani, his wife. So family's it means a lot to me. And my wife has made some amazing sacrifices over the years for me to pursue the dream that God put in my heart to coach football at this level. And excuse my voice, I've been yelling here recently, but I talk fast and yell a lot. So, but bottom line is that we're all thankful for this opportunity and realize that a lot of great young men here that I really intend to get to know in a very personal way here real soon, and a chance to impact their lives and a chance to play elite defense. That's the expectation. That's why we came here. So appreciate that, and with that, we'll take questions.
This is David Hood with TigerNet.com. Obviously, you have a relationship with Matt Luke. Did either one of you ask Matt about, did you ask Matt what it's like here? Did you ask Matt?
Yeah, so once I kind of got it down to a few people, I a very tight circle, I did talk to Matt and swore him to secrecy. Pinky swear. Can't break a pinky swear. But no, Matt he just couldn't say enough great things about him. I talked to everybody he's pretty much worked with, but Matt certainly gave me a lot of good insight as well.
And once Coach reached out to me, then I talked to Matt, and obviously we coached together at Ole Miss and have been in some similar situations along the way, and so we were able to have some real good questions about the culture here and what it's like to coach here and everything. So obviously that was a big part of this process. Obviously, a familiar face. We spent some time together in his office here a few minutes ago, and just blessed to be able to be with somebody that I know and trust and know does a great job, and we have a lot of the same values as well. So it's pretty awesome.
I guess, Tom, just going back to Indiana, I remember you talked about how you had this whole bunch of license plates that you kept from every state you went to because you bounced around so much, and you liked that you were sticking in one place for a little bit. So you're bouncing around again. Do you see Clemson as a place that you want to stick around for a while? And just with that head coaching, is that something that you're keeping the door open there, or is that something that you just want to be the coordinator?
Well, first of all, yeah, we had these license plates in my home office, and we've added 2 more since that conversation. And so honestly, I've been a head coach in the Big Ten, and I love being defensive coordinator. I really, truly do. I'm definitely, I've learned never to say never. I get all that, but that's not what I'm planning to do. There's 2 things I love to do. I really love impacting the lives of young people, and you really only can do that by investing in there as a time component. And when you're a head coach, it's hard to have that time to really get to know the guys and really dive into their lives. And so this gives me a chance to do that. And also, I really do enjoy the football side of defense and studying film and really just diving into that. And you don't really get a chance to do that. I became a head coach and tried to call the defense for a few years, and that was good, but it just was too much after a while. And so this role really fits me. It fits me what I really enjoy doing. It fits me what I want to do. And to be able to chance to do it at a place like Clemson and at a place like Penn State, that was pretty special, And we obviously were one game away, one play away, I thought, from getting to the national championship game, and we expect to be in that situation here. So to be able to have football at the highest level, do what you love to do around great people, man, doesn't get any better than that. So I'm very, very excited here, and hopefully this is the last license plate that we've got to put on the wall.
Hi, Coach. This is Trace Man with TigerNet.com. When you are beginning to build this Clemson defense, what maybe traits are you going to identify to build a successful unit here?
Well, to me, it's really pretty simple. Football is not a complicated game. It's not easy, but it's simple. And to me, it's about playing with the physicality and the toughness. You recruit speed. You want great athletes, you got to recruit those athletes. And I love guys that can run and love to hit, And so we're going to make a big deal about takeaways, tackling, and effort. To me, that's the foundational football side of what we want defensively, and guys that can get to that football at a high level of speed. And when they get there, they got a very violent way to finish. And so, but you got to create confidence in your guys. You got to create a system that's simple. I'm really multiple in what we do, but I'm a big concepts guy, so I want our guys to play with a ton of confidence, keep it simple, let them play fast. The multiplicity to me is built in within the system and the scheme, and that we as coaches control that, and the guys just get to play. And I think when you do that, you create the tackles for loss, the sacks, the takeaways that we spend so much time talking about that change games. And I just think about even in the playoff run that we just had, and we had 28 tackles for loss and 11 sacks and 9 takeaways and scored twice on defense. And that's what you got to do to be able to win and play elite defense. And so, and also in the red zone, because to me at the end of the day, it's about, the only stat that really matters is the points. And so that to me is yards is what it is, but you got to keep them out of the end zone. And so, we were top 5 in the country in red zone defense, and that to me that's where the execution piece and the tackling and all the things you got to coach as an individual coach. But to me, it's really about those simple things, and we're going to adapt the scheme to our guys. I really want to watch our guys here, and I really haven't seen them very much. I watched one game. We played SMU. We got to see the Clemson defense against their offense. That was the only game I watched all year long. So I want to spend time getting to know our guys and seeing what our strengths are, and then kind of adapting the system to them because it has that type of versatility.
From Fox, Carolina. I wanted to ask you, Tom, you've made a couple stops. What have you learned is kind of that secret sauce, that special stuff to connect quickly and start to implement and connect with your guys quickly so you can capitalize and be ready for LSU week one?
No, and you look at the history of places we've been, we've had a chance to really create a lot of change immediately, and I think the secret to that is relationship building. I'm going to start this process tomorrow. I'm going to meet with every single one of our players on defense individually in my office, one-on-one, and get to know them. And I write everything down about them and their families and everything that they love to do. And one thing I'll kind of finish is tell me the 3 most important things in your life. And to me, that really tells me what they value, because I really can't motivate somebody. I really can't connect with them. I can't capture their heart or their mind if I don't really know what's important to them. So I got to begin that process. And so once you do that, then now I'm able to hold these young men to a high level of accountability. And when they know you care about them way more as a person, as a player, that process gets sped up. So to me, the secret sauce is caring about them at an elite level. And they know when it's just about, trying to get them to do something that benefits you, or if it's something you're trying to do to help them benefit themselves and their own future. So it usually works together. But to me, that's kind of what we've done all these years, and I'm going to keep doing that. So I just think at the end of the day, it's also just creating that belief, that they got to know you believe in them. And they got to know that you're taking the time to really help them become special and reach their goals that they have. And I got to have knowledge of what those goals are. So that's why I have all this. I keep it on my computer. Every kid's going to have their own little file, and it allows me to really connect with them. And then when they're not living in a way that's matching up with those things they say, then I can hold them to it. But if I don't have all that stuff down, it's just kind of me just talking to them. And it's sometimes you don't connect. And so I really believe in that process, and we'll get that started here real soon.
Yeah, but what drew you to Coach Allen's schematically?
Yeah, it's right fit. Well, I'm 4 down. I've always been a 4 down guy. That's just kind of what I've grown up with. I think big people beat little people, and now a lot of that is our ability to recruit the best of the best in the defensive line. Now, if I was somewhere else, you have to adapt and do what you have to do to win games. Not everybody is fortunate enough to recruit the type of defensive lineman that we can at Clemson. Nobody's had more D linemen go to the NFL in the last 15 years or so than Clemson. I mean, we got guys all over the NFL with unbelievable success. So that's who we've always been. Again, that's what I grew up around. Won a national championship as a player. To me, I think you got to be multiple within that. And then the way the game has changed, he's a 4-2-5 guy, and that's, we always say we're a 4-3 base, and I mean, in reality you are, because sometimes you're going to play some teams that are going to be heavy personnel and things like that, and you're not going to put a little DB out there on Davis Allen, right, or a big old tight end. So you have to adapt, and the way the game has changed and evolved, and you see so much 11 personnel and some 10 personnel, a little bit of everything. That 4-2-5 is really what the 4-3's grown into. And y'all have seen us. And then occasionally you have some guys that are unique. Occasionally you come across an Isaiah Simmons, right? Some unique people like that gives you a little more flexibility. But we've got good secondary play. We've got to create. I think you have to have a great nickel corner type of guy who can line up, because where does Antonio Williams line up? Where's Tyler Brown line up? Where we put TJ Moore in the slot versus Texas. So you create matchups, and so you have to have the ability to cover. And then also you got to have the ability to stop the run. Those guys got to fit the gap. They got to pressure the quarterback. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into the scheme, but it starts with me with being able to control that line of scrimmage. And again, we're at a place here that has a very rich tradition and history, and we lost one D tackle that we expected to lose. So I mean, these guys we got a great group back. That's where it all starts. So, I want to set the tone there. And again, it's not that you're not in and out and even fronts, and you use I think y'all picked off a pass with the DN in the playoff game. You create simulated pressures and things like that. So, they think it's pressure, but it's not. And next thing you know, here comes a pick. So, don't make a living doing that, but you use your personnel in a lot of different ways to fit the scheme. So that was something that was very important to me, and so he was a great fit, right out of the gate. And as I did, that was part of my process, and really looking at everybody, and because I know who's here, and it's important to me to bring the right person in here that fit our staff and fit the personnel.
Sam Walters, the Clemson Insider. Obviously, Penn State's known for a lot of their great defense past recent years, producing players like Chop Robinson a couple years ago, Dual Carter this year. What is kind of something that you've looked at as far as development for Clemson's defense as a whole, but especially the defensive line with some of the talented edge rushers and D tackles that we have?
Well, as Coach mentioned, I think it's a great fit, because of the similar, mindset of how we want to use those guys. And obviously, there's a long history here of having great defensive linemen. And to me, that's the key. You want to stop the run. You got to have great defensive linemen, great linebacker play, and, just tremendously disciplined run fits, which we take a lot of pride in. And we'll continue to do that here. And but to me, it's really about going out and recruiting guys that have those physical qualities you're looking for, and then developing them, but and also having a system that allows those skills to be magnified, and so a guy like Abdul Carter, had played linebacker the year before, came to me and really wanted to move to that position, saw what Micah Parsons did, in that spot, and it was obviously proved to be a great move for him. He's going to be rewarded for that here real shortly. But bottom line is that, everybody's system has different ways of utilizing those kind of guys. And so when you have a 4-down, structure, it allows that to be magnified. You do a lot of things with that individual, and based on their skill set, we're going to be able to take advantage of that. But it's about recruiting and then development. And I really love being a part of a program that really values that component of it, and be able to take young men out of high school, develop them, and really allow them to be able to maximize everything they've been given. So I just think that's our responsibility as coaches, is the developmental part, and it's also to allow them to be put in position per the scheme to make those plays. And that to me keeps the offense off balance, very attacking and aggressive, but also being able to move and also drop at times. And I think those guys, they love that. And allows them, because they also see, hey, this is going to allow me to be able to showcase my skill set and help increase my value as a player when I show I can play in multiple systems in the NFL. And that to me is helpful in both recruiting and to help motivate your guys, to be their best.
Tom Noah, Shasta ABC Columbia, full transparency, Penn State graduate. So why is this the right time to come from Happy Valley to Death Valley? Why was this the right moment after just a year up there up north?
Yeah, it was totally unexpected, to be honest with you. I know not everybody is going to understand it, and I respect that. But what I said earlier is really the bottom line. It's about my family and the timing of it all. When you do this as long as I have, and you get to the point where you've had some great opportunities and experiences, you really you care about having your family as coaches if you can, and sometimes that's not even possible, and so to be able to, for my wife to be able to see her grandchildren on a consistent basis is, you can't replace that, and you think about all that families, when I left high school in 2006, I was hired as the defensive coordinator at Indiana in 2016, so it was a 10-year window when we left high school, and I was able to fulfill my dream of being a defensive coordinator in the Big Ten, which is what I said when I left Ben Davis High School. That's what I wanted to do. That was 10 years. We lived in 7 states in those 10 years. And a lot of moves. And, well, who's that move, who they on? That's on my wife. I mean, she's the superstar in this whole thing. And she's been amazing. And I appreciate her so much because, I was chasing after this dream that she said became their dream and our dream as a family, and that's when everything started to change. So there was a time where I wasn't sure if this was going to be good for them. And I almost went back to high school. And I'm glad we didn't, but at the same time, I wasn't guaranteed anything when I left, that situation. I was at a really, really good high school program. And so there's no guarantees collegiately that you're going to have an opportunity. And so to know that they went through all that, they went through multiple elementary schools, all of them went to multiple middle schools. None of them went to one high school. They all went to at least 2 high schools. And that's tough. And so to have a chance to be together right now, man, I couldn't pass it up. And you mix that in with a chance to be with this guy right here. I mean, it just was, people that know me well weren't surprised. I'll just say that. They weren't surprised that my family was something that I really put at a high priority here, even though many people won't. And say, why would you leave there after a year? We had such a great season. We're going to have another great season. I believe that they're going to, and I wish them nothing but great things. But for me personally, this is about my family, and I really am excited to be here. And I'm so thankful my wife gets a chance to have the whole crew together, and wherever long that might be, the good Lord's in charge of that. I'm just going to be faithful during that time.
But how important was presence and command of a room in what you were looking for to lead this defense?
Oh, that's huge. I mean, he's obviously a great leader. He's led for a long time. His background was also one of the things that really I was really attracted to, because he does have a long high school background. He's had to teach. He was very successful, huge Florida ties. He was a very successful coach down there in Florida. But I love his track record. He's a grinder. He's a winner. And he's not always had the level of player that he's had at Penn State or at Clemson. He's not always had that level of player, but he's still always been unbelievably successful and competitive, and he's a teacher at heart. And to teach, you've got to be able to connect and communicate, and he's a natural at that. So it was very important. We've got a great staff. We've got some really strong coaches and individuals in our room. So I needed the right guy to come in to lead that group and to lead our defense. And so we made the right decision.
I'm assuming who coaches linebackers?
Yeah, well, he's going to, they made a change in college football this year that is different for everybody. I know it may be going on some places, but for us it was a huge change because it allowed everybody to coach. So that's a huge thing. So I think one of the things you will see in college football is kind of a restructuring, and that's what he came from. And honestly, 3 or 4 of the coaches that I talked to, same situation. And that so he'll run our defense. He's gonna coach everything. He's gonna coach everything. A lot like the NFL. He'll start with the linebacker room as far as coordinating the defense from the linebacker room, but he will. We've got Ben. We're in the process of kind of finalizing some things there with that room, but with Thomas as well. But he will run the defense. He's not going to go on the road recruiting, so he's going to always be with the team, and really, really like that. It's actually something we've talked about with Garrett as well. We're going to talk about that, and so if we end up doing that with Garrett, Taj will be the one that will go on the road. Ben will be out on the road tomorrow, and but he's going to be with the team, and I think that's great. I think you go see that more and more. And most of the guys that I talk to, that's exactly how they've structured. Again, now that everybody can coach, that's huge. So you got to designate who the 10 recruiters are. So I think that's going to be a great opportunity. But he'll run the defense from the linebacker room, but he's going to be involved in everything, coach everything, make sure we're connected like we need to be, detailed like we need to be, and go from there. So I'm really excited about that aspect of it. So and the good thing about that is he doesn't have to hit the road tomorrow, and 2 weeks and 2.5 weeks of craziness. He's going to have time to be with our team, time to transition all of our support staff that's here. Get everything meshed together from a terminology standpoint, get on the same page there. So when we do get off the road, I'm hitting the road, so I'll be rolling for a couple weeks here. But when we do get off the road, 1st of February, we'll be so much further ahead than what normally in the past would be the case. So I'm excited about that. And then obviously we had a long meeting this morning. We went through all the recruiting there. And the good thing is he knows a lot of the people we're already recruiting. So there should be a smooth transition, but then there's probably some other people that we've got to look at too. So a lot of work to be done. Probably get the defensive staff together a couple times, between now and then as well to get a good head start, and then we'll get through, signing day and all the stuff recruiting that we got to do. Everybody kind of take a little break. He'll get a little transition time from Penn State, and then we'll hit it running. Get in our off-season program. Our strength and conditioning program started today. So this was day 1 mandatory. Our guys have been around since they started school, but today was day 1 mandatory. So it's a great opportunity. Everybody's excited. Team meeting today, get a chance to get in front of the defense. Already started that process with the defensive staff, and so it's going to be good. But that's how we'll structure it.
David over TigerNet again. Tell by the raspy voice you're a defensive coach. So your Penn State players said that, you can raise your voice and you don't mind hollering, but they really appreciated your coaching style of explaining and walking them through it and making them explain it to you. Where did that come from, and why is that style so comfortable for you?
Probably from my dad. My dad was my high school coach. He was a great teacher. I thought he was a great communicator to his players. I got to watch that, got to play for him, and I think modeled that after him. And I think that I've learned to be demanding but not demeaning. And so to me, I want to hold these guys to high levels of accountability, how they're going to practice, and how hard they're going to play, and how they're going to do little things the right way. But I think it's how you do it. And I do think when you connect with somebody and they know you really care more about it and you're trying to help them become elite and special, they will accept the accountability. They may not like it always, but they will accept even the hard coaching, the tough coaching of being held to that standard is what they really, because they want to be better. They want to improve. They want to be able to be held to that. And so, but you also got to get to know how they respond. and how they learn. And that doesn't just happen just by walking into a room. You got to get to know them, connect with them. So to me, I just think it goes back to my high school coaching, teaching background. Got my master's in educational leadership, and was really, really involved in that whole process, as a high school coach. And so I think that's where, even talking to Mickey Kahn, I mean, we have a very similar, background. After I first met him when he was a high school coach, and I was recruiting there, at Grayson High School when I was at Ole Miss. And so I just think that allows you to be able to connect and communicate. And I'm always big on why. I want them to know why. They need to know why structurally we're doing things. Why are we doing things schematically? Because I think it helps them adapt and be able to transfer that information from one concept to another, from one scheme to another, much easier. And I think that's a big deal. And so I teach that way. I take time to explain that way. And then you just mix in a whole bunch of energy with all that, and then you get what you want, which is a bunch of high-level buy-in, kids playing as hard as they can play, and all for a common cause. So I think I was born to do this. This really kind of fits me, and I love it. And I don't have to give myself a pep talk to get out of bed every day, because I feel blessed and excited to do what I do, and I have a ton of passion because this is my purpose, and I'm living it out.
Yeah, but you've made a number of external hires in a row now on assistants. Has that been an intentional effort to get more voices in the room, or what do you kind of say about that?
No, I just do what I always do. I do what I think's best for Clemson. And you make a lot of decisions in this type of position. Made thousands of decisions since I got this job, 16 years ago, and hopefully I've made a lot of good ones. But sometimes you don't make the right decision. But we all learn from those things. But I always start internally, always. And that will never change. And we've been really successful. Doesn't mean that everything works the way you want. I've made some external hires that didn't work. I've made a lot of internal hires that have worked great. I've made some external ones that work great, and I've made some external and internal that haven't. But I always start inside, and I think that's a part of having a great culture. I think when you can promote from within, that's what's best. I mean, and that's a sign of a great culture. But sometimes it's not feasible. When I brought Chad Morris in here, it wasn't feasible at the time for me to promote Tony Elliott and Jeff. It wasn't. But 4 years later, it was. And, we've had great success with that. But, sometimes things work out exactly the way you want, and sometimes it doesn't. But it doesn't have anything to do with internal, external, all that stuff that people like to make a big deal about. It's about doing what I think's best. And ultimately, I got to make decisions, and I make thousands of decisions. And again, I am, as Kath will tell you, I'm far from perfect. I'm a long way from that. I don't make, and I doubt any of y'all make every decision right. So, but I gotta, when I don't make the right decision, I try to grow from it, learn from it, and correct it. So that's really it. Nothing's different. Nothing's intentional and whatever. I just try to do what I think's best for Clemson in the moment that we're in, and what's best mostly for the long term. And then if it turns out to not be the right decision, you gotta change it, and then ultimately you gotta own those things.
Yeah, when you guys signed 2 transfers since the last time we spoke to you, I guess what did you kind of identify with Will Helt and Jeremiah Alexander, and how do you kind of see them fitting into your defense for this upcoming season? Yeah,
been a lot written about the portal, and man, the crazy thing is we've signed a portal guy 3 out of the last 4 years. I mean, 3 out of the last 4 years. And same thing. We just, as I've always said, we do what's best for Clemson. And I've always said we'll use the portal whenever we need it, and we'll be strategic with it. And we needed it, 4 years ago. We needed a backup quarterback. We got one. The next year we needed a backup quarterback. We got one. He was here for 2 years. And then this year we didn't anticipate signing a defensive line portal guy. We had 2 great ones committed, and we were taking 2. But as y'all know, things can change in recruiting. And we had a young man decide to back out and go somewhere else. So there wasn't anybody left to recruit that could fill the need that we needed. So now we have a gap. We have to go use the portal, and we needed a high-level guy. And we got the guy that I wanted to get. That was that situation. Ari Watford tore his ACL. We had a kid back out, so we needed to go get a guy, and we did. And then from a receiver standpoint, we had 2 guys go in the portal. And so we had a gap. So we needed to go get a guy. And we needed somebody that, that could come in and help us with our depth and come in here and compete. And we found a great kid in Tristan out at Southeast Missouri. I was looking for a little length, and there was no high school was over, right? There was nobody to get. So we needed to get it. We need to go get a guy. So that's how we got there. And I've always said, when we have to use it, we will. And then the linebacker situation, honestly, we weren't really going to take a backer. We knew we needed another guy. Logan Anderson, our signee, tore his ACL. Kobe, obviously, his situation. So we felt like we probably needed another guy. But we were going to wait till May. And then Jeremiah kind of popped up and knew all about him, obviously recruited him really hard, knew his family. So that was a really good situation that worked out for us. So we were moving our number from 8 to 9. Our number was 8 at linebacker. We were moving it to 9 because we're transitioning into a new roster construction in 105. Will kind of be a process over the next couple of years with that. So that's how we got to it. And then I've always said, if you got a bunch of guys leave in May, where are you going to sign guys in May? But that hasn't been the case for us. We haven't had guys leave. Last year we had a kid leave, but we were already over, so we were able to keep our snappers on scholarship. We had a plan for it, but we were over, so it worked out. So that's really it. Nothing different. I know everybody likes to write about it, but our process is still the same. We're going to recruit high school kids as long as we can get the best of the best. As long as we can go get the Gideon Davidsons of the world and the Sammy Browns of the world and the T.J. Parkers and Peter Woods and Cade Klubniks, that's what we're going to do, and we're going to develop. That's one of the reasons I wanted to hire somebody who had a great background of developing. And then we have to respond. If we have a situation and we have a gap in our roster, or we have kids that leave, that we have all of a sudden creates a gap, then you have to address that. And so to me, that's how for us, that's how we use the portal. But the process isn't any different. They still got to be the right fit. They got to check all the boxes. They can't just be a good player. No different than our high school recruiting.
Great sports and culture. Coach, you came off a great year at Penn State and making that nationally ranked defense. What did you see in this Clemson team, this opportunity? What really excited you about coming here?
I just think that the things we mentioned, to be able to be at a place that has the expectation of playing, in the national championship game and winning that game, and not every place, everybody can say they want to get to that point, but that's not probably reality. And there's a few programs out there that have that opportunity, and obviously Penn State's one of those, and so is Clemson, and so I think that that matters, and be able to be, you get 2 great head coaches, that I had a chance to work with, and that's awesome, and so there's a lot of similarities with all that, and the opportunity to be able to win your league and then go on, and with the new structure now with the 12-team playoff and those opportunities that creates, and that was a big deal, for me, and so, but then, like I said, it all really kind of, shifted when you start talking about your faith in your family, and that's where it really, like I said, those that know me best and know me really, really well, were just not surprised at all, because they know how important my family is to me. And they know that they've been through a lot to be able to help me get where I feel like I was, supposed to be at those times. And one thing when you think about it, I know we've kind of mentioned this a couple times, when you make moves in this profession, they happen in January. Okay, well, that's right smack in the middle of the school year. So we've had to pull our kids out. Like the first time we did this, we kept them in school. So I went to the new job. They stayed in school. They were younger, and we were miserable. I was miserable. We weren't together. They were miserable. I wasn't around them. We said we are never doing this again because we didn't want to take them out of school. And so ever since then, we always pulled them out. Well, who had to do all that? It wasn't me. I was off recruiting. I was off to my new job. It was my wife, and it was the kids. And there was even one where I'll never forget where she was taking our youngest daughter and to drop her off at her new school in January, and she wouldn't get out of the car. I mean, she was just crying, and my wife's crying, telling me, and I'm starting to cry because I'm like I'm the reason for all these things, and so it's hard. Those moves are hard, especially middle school. girls in middle school. It was tough to connect, and my son was easier because when you're a really good athlete, they got a new teammate that's going to help them win. But it's just different when you're not in that situation. So I just, all those things. Those are things that I know that we've been through, and then the chance to be able to. Our girls, they cried when they found out I was taking this job, and because we're close. So those kind of things, you just can't replace them. And life's short, and I don't take anything for granted. I'm 54 years old. I still think I'm pretty young, but I'm not, and so, but at the same time, I value those things. And when you value those things, they help you make decisions that some people don't understand, that don't think makes sense to them. And maybe it doesn't from that perspective, but it did to me. And that's why I'm here.
Really cool thing last night, picking them up. Never been to Clemson. Never been here. And so to have his family last night, to be able to ride them around town and, to take them over to the Rock and the Hill and Death Valley. And, I mean, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool to just, show him Clemson. And the other thing, again, cool for me is not just talking to Coach Allen, but all the people that I talk to, their perspective of Clemson. And our program is really, 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 really cool. And so it's awesome to have his family here. Y'all gonna love him. But it was a big full moon when he landed last night, and Death Valley was lit up, and so we had a lot of fun touring around till probably about 11 o'clock when we got done last night. So it's really neat.
Coach Carmine Jume, Fox Carolina. On the family note, have you guys done anything special to celebrate, or do you have anything special planned to celebrate? Because I know it's been a whirlwind, but with such a great celebration, great moment for the family.
I actually was with his daughter in Charlotte at the coaches convention. I got a chance to meet her up there, and she went to dinner with us, and then we all went to dinner last night. Went over to Calhoun Corners, had a good dinner, but we're gonna probably get together the whole group this weekend and maybe watch a ball game or something and just decompress a little bit. And so it's been great, and then I'm sure they've had some moments as well as a family.
Yeah, we're going to get everybody together here as soon as we can. Obviously, Brittany's in Greenville, and actually I didn't even realize how close it was. I just, it's when they moved there, a year ago, I was just like, okay, that sounds cool, So, but then when this all happened, I started kind of piecing it all together, and then it just the chance to be able to, like I said, to get in the car and go see them. It's going to be good, and they can get here as well. So now Hannah, she's, like I said, she's great with child, so she's not going anywhere right now. We have to go see her, but bottom line is that that's special to me, and so we're going to definitely get together, and it's going to happen a lot, and they'll be able to be at the games, and that hasn't happened for many years, so that's hard to do in this profession, for sure. So that's why.
Brittany's nice life of anonymity that she's been enjoying in Greenville, South Carolina, it came to an end this just yesterday, I think. So she no longer is just hanging out in, how you say it, Lucero? How do you say her last name?
Lucero.
Lucero, yeah, Brittany Lucero. She's now, that's the D coordinator at Clemson's daughter. So she's probably got more followers now.
Yeah.
Beth's gonna be looking her up, No, she's out. She's out. No,
Yeah,
it's already been blown. Her cover's been blown.
Dabo was talking about how you reached out when you became the interim at IU. Why was he one of those people you contacted?
I just a lot of alignment in how he built the program, and accountability, toughness, love. Those are the three pillars that I used to build Indiana football, and went to Penn State, and that's the pillars of our defense. It's going to be a pillar of our defense here, but that aligns very closely with what Coach Swinney believes in and how he's built this program. So I talked to him and other head coaches that I believe had done it the way I wanted to do it, and wanted to create the same kind of culture there that he had created here. So that for sure was a definite connection. And just also, John Gordon is a guy that I had really kind of admired. I've had him come speak to our team, read his books, and I know Coach has been connected with him as well. So there's a lot of individuals. We have the same agent, that there was some connection there as well to be able to get in touch with him. So, but the bottom line is that it's the alignment with the things that you value and how you build something a certain way aligned with his. And I wanted to, I respected him and valued him and wanted to know what I could learn from him.
You with TigerNet.com. If I'm not mistaken, you were in the box with Penn State. Are you intending to be in the box here, or like be on the field? Do you have preference?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, I had been on the field for a long time. I started in the box when I was younger, calling the defense. And so, you know, Coach Frank and I, we talked about it. He asked me what I thought about it. And it really, with the use of the technology, with the iPads now, and the communication we have with the sideline, with the mic system, with the players on the field. So it really was a good fit there. I liked that. I didn't at first, but I did grow. It grew on me real fast. And I thought we could have a chance to do some good things with that. So, but I'm really an on-the-field kind of guy. So I don't know yet. Coach and I have briefly talked about it. We'll do what's best for the team at that point. But at the same time, now that I've done both, I can kind of, you know, gather all the information. To me, it's really more about making sure that we're getting exactly what we need to be able to get the best call in the game, and also make sure that the sideline demeanor and how you handle the ebbs and flows of a game are where it needs to be. So that will be to be determined for sure, and obviously we'll make that decision. But I feel I got the flexibility now to do either or, whatever we feel is best.
He can sit in the stands. He can climb the Oculus. He can get up there with the tail wagging on the Jumbotron. I could care less as long as we stop him. So he can push that button and talk to him from anywhere. So I don't really care what he wants to do. That'll be his decision.
Yeah, but what's DeMonte Capart's status? Can he come back? Does he need a waiver to come back? Or is that kind of?
Yeah, we're waiting on that to give you a final answer. He's training. He's here. We just talked to him. As a matter of fact, he's in school. So we're hoping for some good news.
Coach Allen, Don Munson, play-by-play guy here at Clemson. One of the interesting things that I've heard is Coach talking about the restructuring of what the staff is going to be like. The fact that you won't have to go on the road to recruit. The possibility that Garrett, looks like Garrett's not going to have. Was that part of what pushed this kind of, in your mind, over the line? Because that means family. You get to spend time here. You're not going to be. Was that part of the thing that really kind of pushed this over the line?
He was already doing that.
Yeah, so it's a good question, because when I went to Penn State and the rule change went into effect, I went there as a linebackers coach and the defensive coordinator. So I no longer coached the linebackers once that rule came into play, and Dan Conner became the linebackers coach. And then, you know, Coach Franklin took all three coordinators and pulled us off the road. And so when I talked to Coach about it, I said, this is the current structure, and I do think this is the direction that a lot of places are going to start going to, and it makes a lot of sense. And so I do feel like that that was something I really did enjoy, because I felt it allowed me to become a better defensive coordinator and do my job at a higher level for obvious reasons, to be able to, you know, especially when you come in new, to be able to impact all the rooms, not just the one room, that one position group, and be able to really coach the coaches better and do a better job of building relationships with our current players. And so all those things make it. So yeah, I really like that, and definitely was something that I was looking forward to continuing, you know, wherever that might be.
Yeah, but do you have a timetable on when they'll get back to you about Capart?
Any moment. Yeah, I think any moment. Pretty. You know, I think he's got until February 6th. So he doesn't have to declare for the draft technically. So, but I think he's got until February 6th to not be in it. So hopefully we'll know something soon.
For Tom, Chapel Fowler from the State Newspaper, when you were at Indiana and then at Penn State, how did like strength and conditioning play into defense in your mind? How do those two kind of parts of a program go together?
Well, I mean, as a head coach there, you know, obviously that's your right-hand guy. I mean, he spends so much time, that entire staff spends so much time with your players and just developing them physically, yes, but also mentally, and the toughness piece. It's so valuable to playing great defense. So to me, it's massive, you know, and to be able to train our guys to be able to play at a high level, you know, for several hours. These games are long games, lots of reps, lots of plays, and the game is played at a high level of speed now, and a lot of plays being played by your defense. So to me, just having a great strength staff and doing a great job in there is a huge part of it. That's the development piece. That's where you take your players from where they come into you out of high school and be able to build off of those things and get as big, as strong, as fast as you can get them, and also be able to help them be able to mentally handle the ebbs and flows of a game and of a season. You know, so I just think those guys are huge, and I met the staff this morning and say, hey, you're going to see me a lot in there, because I believe in that. I'm a weight room guy, and part of that goes back to being that when you're a high school coach, you're involved in everything, and when you're a small college coach, you also got to be able to be involved in everything. So, but I believe in that, and I think that's where your team is really, you know, shaped and formed in this offseason. So I'm looking forward to watching those workouts, seeing those guys do what they do, and it really teaches me a lot about who they are and how they can handle adversity.
Just talking about that 4.25 that you run. I know it was called a Husky and a Bull when you were at IU. Is that I guess, what are you going to call them?
We do different names based on, we called it a lion, where I just came from, the nickel position. You can call it a nickel if you want. I really don't care what you call it. But the way we've kind of grown with the defensive line is when you have talented defensive linemen, we really had a chance at Penn State to not have to isolate one guy because we had two that could do the same thing. I didn't have that at Indiana. If we could find one that was that special guy, that was good. And so but what do we ask that guy to do? We're going to ask both guys to be able to do. And I think it just allows you to be probably a little bit more versatile, and also there's no tell on who plays which side of the ball, So I think that's important, but I just think, once again, it's more about, matching to our guys, and Coach said it, you really match your personnel. If they're going to get heavy, we're going to get heavier. If they're going to be in lighter personnel, we're going to be a little bit lighter. But it's become a spread game. The game is played in space. You got to be able to make plays in space, and our system is built for that. And that's what I was a true 4-3 guy for many, many years. And then we slowly, as we got through all this, we started changing from that Sam linebacker to the nickel position. And then also it's kind of based off what you're seeing and who you're playing against, what that guy looks like. So we'll have several different body types that will be in that, be able to do those kind of skills. So that's really adapting to your team so you can be your best on game day.
Sam Walters for Clemson Insider again, talking about off-season workouts. I know that's kind of a very important thing that the players love to talk about right whenever the beginning of the season is kind of how that affected them and how that kind of played a part in that role over the summer and the spring. What's something not just as a transition-wise for you coming into the team, but also just as a way that you want to accomplish this season, off-season, to prepare for the start?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing for me is getting to know the players. So that's why I want to watch all these workouts. It just shows me a lot about how they move, how they can bend, their bursts, their talents that they have from a physical perspective. And then, like you said, you also get to see who's got that special something to be able to push through adversity. And that's where you have to have shared adversity as a group, and that's what those opportunities are. And I want to be able to work through them and observe through that as well. And then obviously you're just going to teach the system. So we haven't started that process yet. Obviously I just got here yesterday, but we'll get that going in a very efficient way. And that's one advantage we have not going out and recruiting. Usually have to go out and hit the road right away. And so we're going to start getting all those cut-ups made, get everything ready to get the installations ready for our guys for spring ball, because it's right around the corner. Coach says February 28th, so that's pretty efficient.
That's one of my questions. Can you be ready by February 28th?
I said, yes,
absolutely.
Sir. But put some of these things on fast forward. But at the same time, that's what we're doing right now. And a process will start even this afternoon and into tomorrow, and we'll get all those things ready, because at the end of the day, we got to have both the coaches and the players aligned. And we, as the coaching staff, we haven't had a meeting yet other than the staff, the full staff. We'll meet as defensive staff this afternoon. So all those things are going to happen here pretty quickly, and then they'll go off on the road, and I'll stay in touch with them. And so we'll work through this together. But the offseason is important, without question. And I've always learned this, though. Your individuals are made in the offseason, and teams are built and made during the season. That's where you kind of become really, really, really close to be able to handle the ebbs and flows of what happens to you on game day. So I'm looking forward to this process and can't wait to get started.
Just a few more minutes with these gentlemen. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it seemed like the outside focus on the coaching stuff and the portal took a lot of the focus off the retention that you guys were able to accomplish with so many of your important players choosing to stay. What did that say just about where y'all are right now, sort of culturally, and the stuff beyond the financial parts?
Well, I sat in a 4+ hour head coaches meeting yesterday and heard a lot of horror stories, from a lot of coaches, that these things we're not dealing with here, and I'm very thankful for that. I mean, I really am, and it's a blessing, and they're all important to me. I don't just have some important players. They're all, if they're a Tiger, they're important to me, every single one of them. And the way I look at it, I don't run anybody off. I mean, y'all know that, people who know this program. If they're not good enough, that's our fault. It's till graduation do we part, period, the end. That's why we don't offer many guys. So as they know, I'm not gonna run a kid off. It's just not how we operate. And sometimes kids choose to leave. We had 4 guys, 4 scholarship players that chose to move on. Trey's a graduate. I mean, awesome kid. He did a heck of a job. He got a master's degree from Clemson. And, he had an opportunity with 1 season left, a 6th year, to get a different experience and maybe try to create a bigger role for himself. And obviously Noble and Stellato, wanted a little different role. And then same thing with Sherrod. But those were great kids. I mean, I have no no issues with them, tried to help them all. But I don't want to lose anybody, you know, so they're all important to me, every single one of them. But I do think that it just fortifies what I already know. We're unique. We're very unique. We're a very, very unique and uncommon program in every sense of the word. Everything, when it comes to graduation, when it comes to winning close games, when it comes to 9+ win seasons, when it comes to championships, when it comes to graduation success rate, when it comes to retention, when it comes to development. We're unique in all of those areas. We're not perfect by any stretch, but we're very unique. And in today's world of college football, I think we were second in the country in retention last year. We'll probably be first. And so, these kids aren't, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot of bartering. There's a lot of stuff. It's not a lot of structure right now. But I think it just speaks to, they really value the place. And there's a component there that has to make sense for sure. But they value the relationships. They value the place. It goes back to what Coach was talking about. It's got to be more than just football. You have to have relationships in place that are real, and that's why it's a huge part of our purpose is to make sure that they have a great experience. And again, I wish I didn't lose anybody. I don't want anybody to leave, but it was awesome. And listen, our team, Jordan and Zach and Kendall and Graham, everybody did a great job, but ultimately it comes down to retention is about relationships and development and vision, a vision that's laid out. So it was awesome. Got a good football team coming back, and it's a team again coming off a championship and coming off a playoff appearance, and these guys they all have very clear eyes going into this off season, knowing that they're good enough. Like I said, it's one thing to think you are, it's another thing when you know you are. And this group will hit the offseason knowing what it looks like and knowing that they're good enough, but also knowing it's a small margin for error. And we all gotta get better. We all gotta level up a little bit, and that's what we'll do.
All right, that'll run us up on time. Thank you all so much for being here, and Coach Allen, welcome.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.